I want to go right to this because I had not actually heard the good news. I'm not sure if you heard during Live on the Green, Wild Feathers did their set, right? Ricky kind of got into the crowd. Somebody ended up grabbing his guitar,
Oh
and we couldn't
no.
find it for about a week or so, but thankfully he got it back.
Oh, good.
And of course, Adam and I have talked about it on the morning show. We mentioned we were tweeting out and sharing everything that we could. That you had a similar experience when you were in Sacramento and you had some gear that was taken. Happy to report you got it back.
A good Samaritan found us on Facebook, and we literally, it was our last show on the road with Social Distortion.
Yeah.
And we walked off stage, and Brian looked at his phone, and it was ringing, and it was the guy who had our guitars.
Really?
And he showed us, sent us some text pictures of them and stuff,
And so do you know if he was the one that took them?
we don't, and we weren't really
You were
super
just worried about
concerned with
getting them
that.
back,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And whether it was a crisis of conscience or just a dude looking out for other musicians or whatever, like we
just
appreciate
trying to do the right thing.
appreciate the goodwill when it comes your way.
Well, that is such great news. Of course, Aaron Lee Tasjan joining me here backstage at Pilgrimage Fest 2018. The brand new record is just amazing.
Oh,
I mean, and I'm
thanks,
not just
man.
saying that because we're talking live on the radio. I know I actually made one of the tunes my DJ pick a few weeks back, and now having the full length, it is just great front to back. Tell us, I mean, I loved your first one, the last one, Silver Tears, is great as well.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about the production of this. You worked with Jeff Trott, of
Yep.
course, plays with Sheryl Crow.
Yeah.
How did the production and kind of the songwriting differ on this record from the last one, or did it?
Well, there were a couple of songs that I wrote with some friends of mine on this one.
Uh-huh.
So that was a little bit different. 3 of the songs on the records are songs that I wrote with some friends of mine. And then other than that, we stayed here in beautiful Nashville
Of
to
course.
record it,
Uh-huh.
which was great. We got to work over at Sound Emporium, which was a great legendary studio. Sheryl Crow very kindly invited us to her studio to do some recording there, which we did.
Right, that's somewhere Franklin-ish, I think.
Yeah,
right? Ish?
yeah,
something like that.
And so that was really awesome. And then my buddy Greg Latimer, who made the first Albert Hammond Jr. record and some great records for a band called Repeat Repeat from here in town.
Yes, indeed, local favorites as well.
But he helped me record the last few songs for that record, which was like Heart Slows Down and a couple of those jams over at his studio in East Nashville there in his house. So, we kept it really local this time, which felt great. And, Nashville's a great recording town with so much history and so many great rooms. It was really fun to be able to track here in town.
Definitely. And when it came time to actually cutting the tracks, did you know, like, specifically that you wanted certain people to play certain parts, or what was your take on kind of getting everybody in the studio for the actual recording, the tracking part?
This time around, I just ended up using the guys who I tour with. Brian Wright on guitar, Tommy Cyphers on bass, and Seth Ernest on drums. And we pretty much handled all of the heavy lifting on it, although Sheryl does sing harmony on one of the
Right.
songs. And I'm sure I'm going to leave somebody else out too. But, we had a couple friends shake some stuff and strum some things, and
Yeah.
we pressed record during the time when it was happening. So
That's awesome. And how did you record it? Did you record to analog, or was it all digital, or some combination thereof?
yeah, it was all digital recording,
Okay.
but we had this really great young guy named Eddie Spear mix it, who has worked with Dave Cobb and Vance Powell and a bunch of really great producers and engineers, and he's just a really sharp mix engineer, and really was able to bring a lot of our kind of crazier ideas to life in a really kind of cool, like cartoonish kind of way. So
Right.
that made us really happy.
That's awesome. Talking with Aaron Lee Tasjan. Of course, the new album, Karma for Cheap, is available now. Actually, I have one of the tunes that you hear right here on Lightning 100 queued up. We'll get to that in just a minute. What all that happened in Sacramento, that was one of the last dates that you did with Social Distortion, right?
Yeah.
What was it like touring with Social D?
Oh man, it was a total trip. Mike Ness is a really cool dude. He would come to our sound check every day
Really?
and watch our sound check, and then like he would be like, "Yeah, man, like, do you guys ever listen to like early David Bowie stuff?" You know, we'd be like, "Yeah, we love that," and he'd be like, "Yeah, man, like when you were playing this song or whatever, I kind of thought like maybe these guys are into early." But he was like really fun and like super interesting. Always had like some weird, crazy story to tell us.
Right?
He was everything that you'd want him to be. And that band is really great. They got David Hidalgo Jr. on drums, who is a monster musician.
Yeah.
And the guitar player, Johnny Two Bags, in that band is just, it's great. Sounds really awesome. And he and Mike have these like racks of incredible vintage guitars that they play.
Right.
Super fun to check out. So it was a really great experience. We loved doing it. We're certainly probably not the band that a lot of people would pick to open for Social Distortion, but we were so honored that they asked us that. We were just like, man, we got to do it.
Got to do it, right? How did the fans receive it well?
Yeah, most of the time they were really cool to us. You know, I mean, it's a Social Distortion crowd for sure.
Right.
You know, so you have some work to do to win them over. You know,
Sure.
you got to go out and get them. I don't think they're just gonna like
Come to you.
come to you.
Right.
You know, but I respect that.
Sure.
So
Good stuff. Aaron Lee Tasjan here backstage at Pilgrimage Fest 2018. Man, it's so great to catch up with you.
oh, likewise.
And we
Jason.
could, we could sit here and do Mitch Hedberg one-liners all day long. I
Heck
think
yeah.
you and I and our buddy Hamill could just do that all night long. But we won't bore everyone with that on the radio. But I will say, just like I did when you walked up, hey, man, I saw you at Pilgrimage Fest about a minute ago, and you were good. Aaron Lee Tasjan joining us here backstage at Pilgrimage. Thanks so much, bud.
Thank you, Jason.
Always great to catch up with you as we get one on from the new record.